Ariel is this like really, really pretty mermaid, and she's just swimming around all the day, like la 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 la, and she like always wants to go to the surface. So like there was a ship out one night, and there was like this really bad storm because her dad was having a hissy fit about mashed potatoes being soggy, and so there was this like really bad storm, and the ship got struck by lightning and caught fire, and then like everyone fell in the water, and only like a handful of people made it to the boats because they weren't smart enough to like get in them till the ship was already, you know, like half underwater, which, you know, you think they would have learned from the Titanic that you should get in the boats like as soon as it gets struck by fire. So like Ariel's all, ooh, look, drowning people, so she's swimming around like, ooh, you're pretty and you're not, and you don't really stand a chance. And then she found this like really sexy man, and he's like going under the waves, and so she's all, well, okay, I'm gonna have to save him because he like deserves a lease on life. And so she goes in the water and she brings him back up, and she has to give him CPR, which was like the highlight of her night because he wasn't breathing anymore. And eventually it worked because he started breathing, and he looked at her and he was like, hey there, sexy lady, what's your name? And she's like, I'm Ariel. And then he like passed out because like he was really, really tired, and actually that was probably the worst thing he could have done because he could have had like dry drowning syndrome, where like you almost drowned and then like you don't, but you still have like water in your lungs, so like hours later you can drown. That's a true story, okay? I lifeguarded for like a day. But anyways, so like she goes home and she's all like, Dad, can I be a human for like a week to date this boy that I left on a beach somewhere? And her dad was like, are you cray cray? We ain't doing that here. And she was like, but Dad, I'm 16. I just really, really like this boy. And her dad was like, Ariel, I am still getting over last night's mashed potatoes fiasco, okay? I can't handle this right now. You're just gonna have to go talk to your aunt. And so she's like, fine. And so she's swimming to the outskirts of the city where her aunt has been banished for a really long time. The only reason she's been banished is because her dad and her were like in this fight, and she was like, you can't banish me, and he was like, yes I can, and she was like, no you can't, we're family, it's my kingdom too. And he was like, oh yeah, well watch me. And so she lives in the outskirts of the city to prove a point, but she's allowed to come in on like holidays and festivals. They're like having a little family reunion, and her aunt's like, so what's up, girlfriend? And Ariel's like, Ursula, I just really, really want feet, and I want to go on hot dates for at least a week, and then if I really like it, maybe forever, you know? I mean, swimming's so overrated, and like my skin's been pruny for like years, and I don't really know how you're supposed to treat this. And her aunt was like, okay, but you know, we have to do an equivalent exchange, so you have to give me something of equal value if you want legs. And Ariel was like, well, I have the prettiest voice in like the entire world. And her aunt was like, I'm not gonna say anything, but okay. And so they got like a little surgical knife, and they took out her vocal cords and they put it in a jar, and then they put that jar in this circle magic pit, and then she's like, oogie boogie blah, and then out came this magical smoke which wrapped around Ariel's legs or her tail and gave her legs. And then Ariel was like, thank you so much. And her aunt was like, you're welcome, but it's only gonna last for like a week. And then Ariel was like, realizing that every word she spoke wasn't being heard because she had no vocal cords, so she started putting it out her throat. It's like 7 days this, and her aunt's like, no, that's gone for good, I'm sorry. And Ariel was like, pfft. And then she swam up to the surface and she found the beach that she left the prince at. And so she gets there and she's like half naked, and so she like sneaks into someone's backyard, and like while she's walking around, she's realizing that her feet really hurt. Like every time she steps, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm like stepping on something really sharp. Why is that? And she just assumed that like everybody steps on stuff like that, but honestly it felt like pins and needles because she'd never walked before. The rest of us just get used to it when we're babies, but she was never gonna get used to it because she just wasn't meant to have feet. So like she breaks into someone's backyard where they're hanging laundry, and she steals some pants, but she likes her shell bra so much that she just keeps it. And so she finds this dude Eric. He's like wandering around with his pet dog, and she runs up to him and like gives him a really big hug around the neck, and he's like, whoa, I don't know you. And so she's trying to play like charades, like I swam and pounded on your chest and breathed on your mouth. And this guy like actually got the connection, and he was like, oh my gosh, you're the girl that saved me? And she's like, yeah. And he's like, why aren't you talking? And then she lifted up her chin, and you could see these like really bad seaweed stitches because they don't have like sutures or whatever those are called. And he's like, oh, well that's kind of gross. And she's like, eh. And so they're like running around and like doing awesome things, and like her feet are just like really killing her. And like on the 6th day, he's like, okay, so yeah, I'm gonna have to go and marry my fiance now. And she's like, fiance? And he's like, yeah, I'm like totally engaged. Thanks for saving me, by the way. And then he like ran off to get married, and she was like, that is like so uncool, like in her mind, because naturally she can't talk. But so she goes back to the beach and like gets in the water and like swims home to her aunt. And because like just because she has legs doesn't mean she can't breathe underwater. Like she never asked for anything to be done to like her gills, okay? Just clearing that up because people are just so immature about stuff like that. So she's swimming back, and she finally like gets to her aunt, and so she's like miming like that he was getting married and that she wanted her tail back, and her aunt was like, yeah, I'm not really sure how to restore your tail, because I thought I could just like do it in the reverse from what I did this time, but it's kind of like a one-way street where like there is no other way. And Ariel was like, and her aunt was all like, yeah, I'm sorry, I mean, I guess you'll just have to get used to swimming like humans do. And so Ariel started trying to learn how to swim like a pro swimmer, and met Michael Phelps and whatnot. And then when she got really good, she went back home, and the prince lived happily ever after with some chick. And Ariel was like mad because she wasn't as fast as a swimmer anymore, and she couldn't talk, so she really like just lost on life right there. True story.